I'm pretty excited to introduce you to two special guests I have with me today for the first podcast of 2016. So first I'm going to start with the littler special guest. What is your name?
Alex.
Your name is Alex, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So my daughter Everly is going by Alex today. And then I have my second special guest. And what's your name?
Bowen.
Bowen. Good to have both of you here. Now before I get started, Bowen, what was your best Christmas gift this year?
I like my remote control Lego set train.
Lego set. So
Yeah.
you got a remote control Lego train set.
Yeah, and also my remote control helicopter.
Nice. Thank you. And Alex, what was your favorite gift this year?
Clothes.
What was it?
Boy clothes.
Boy clothes. Okay. All right. So my special guest may chime in or may not chime in. We'll see how this goes. So it's so great to have you guys here in 2016. I'm so looking forward to a great 2016 with you in my world to continue to build the world that we're all kind of part of and help you protect and grow your money. Hey everybody, this is RC Peck, and this is my first podcast of 2016 with my two kids with me. And the theme for this podcast is Strength is Relative. So what does that mean? So if you're going to buy a sector, if you're going to buy anything outside the S&P 500, and I consider the S&P 500 your free rate of return, right? That's the index that everyone on the planet is trying to beat. You can beat it, but you have to do a couple things to make sure that you are beating it. And looking at relative strength, hold on, I have a bit of a cold, is one of those things. So if you're going to buy a sector, then I want you to do something very specific to make sure that what you're doing is increasing your chance of growing your money. So we're going to look at three different sectors. This first sector is financials, and this is the financial sector of the S&P 500. Now this is 3.5 years-ish of data, and the blue line is the 70-day exponential moving average. So my brain looks at this, and it looks at this that from about August of 2013, financials have been underperforming the S&P 500. And if they're underperforming, then you generally want to stay out of them because they're going to grow your money slower. Now, the other thing I see is they kind of bottom out here, down here. And what you're looking at on this chart is you're looking at a relative strength chart comparing financials to the S&P 500. So if the blue line is going higher or the price behind is going higher, that means the financial sector is outperforming the S&P. And if the blue line is falling or the price line behind it is falling, that means financials are underperforming the S&P 500. So as you can see, they've been just kind of wobbling up and down over the last 2 years, 2.5 years. So if you're going to buy a sector, you want to buy one that's outperforming. Or if you pull up this relative kind of strength price chart comparing the sector against the S&P, you want to get it when it's bottoming and going to move up. But right now, the financials are just kind of in no man's zone. Okay, the next one I want to show you is the energy sector. This is the energy sector. So clearly, now, I'm going to call you Everly because people don't know that you change your name. So Everly, if you look at this price chart, which direction is the blue line going? No, you got to say it out loud though.
Straight.
It's going straight, and then what does it do right here?
Down.
Then it goes down?
Yeah.
So when the blue line is falling here on energy, and it's fallen really hard, oil is down almost 70% since July of 2014. So if you're going to get into energy, you better have a plan. Either you're trading it or, well, certainly for whatever reason you'd get into the energy sector, you want to see this relative strength chart and understand that energy is greatly underperforming the S&P 500. Now, I get people might want to get into the energy sector hoping it will go higher, but I'm sure they thought it would go higher here and then again here when it just went sideways. So this is a very clear signal saying that the energy sector is greatly underperforming the S&P 500. And I'm going to show you one more price chart. This is the discretionary sector, consumer discretionary sector of the S&P 500. And Bowen, let me ask you, what do you notice with the chart right here?
It goes up right at the front, and then it goes down, and then it goes up again.
Yeah, so it goes up right here, then it underperformed.
Goes down, and then it goes up.
So the discretionary sector, thank you, Bo, has greatly been out. Yeah, thank you, sweetie. So the discretionary sector has greatly been outperforming the S&P 500, and you can visually tell that's happening right here. So if you're going to buy a sector, then you want to make sure it's outperforming the S&P 500, because if it's not, you're potentially putting your money in a situation where it will grow slower, or where you will actually lose capital. Now, the way you do this is pretty easy. You can go to stockcharts.com, and you can just type in, if you look right here, you can just type in the sector symbol. So for energy, it's XLE. And you don't have to use that ticker symbol for the energy sector, but any sector symbol. And then you put a colon in here and just put SPY. And if you do that, you will get one of those price charts I just showed you. And just like with discretionary, if it's going higher, that means the discretionary sector, in this case XLY, is outperforming the S&P 500, and if it's falling, it's underperforming. So what is the takeaway? The takeaway is that relative strength is important, and it's easy to figure out which sectors are outperforming and underperforming. And you could even do this with individual stocks. So if you want to buy an individual stock, make sure you compare that individual stock with its sector, and then compare that sector with the S&P 500. And when you add those two simple steps in there, you're literally putting momentum, behind you. It's like being on a sailboat with 6-knot winds behind you with nice glassy seas. Like, why not set up a situation so the symbol you're going to buy has every math and statistic behind it to outperform its sector and the S&P 500. Hey guys, this is just another step in helping you protect your future and protect your portfolio. Until next time, this is RC Peck.